So I recently got a comment on one of my videos asking me how I make my Eurobeat, and I tried replying step by step how I do it, but it was very hard because making my music is a very complex process. So I thought I should make a video about it instead. First thing I do is I open FL Studio, and first thing I do is I always set the BPM to a very Eurobeat BPM, so I'd say between 150 to 165 beats per minute. I need a really powerful kick. I often go with the GRV kick section right here, all of those. Go through all of them and try to find which would fit my track the best. So let's go with the 29 right here. Let's go for a very simple pattern. Should sound like this. I should extend it, done. So it cycles with this throughout the entire song. I try to get some snares. Right now I'm just doing the drum section. So now the drums are done. I'm not going through the entire step-by-step process. This is not a tutorial, it's just basically explaining how I make my music. So right now it sounds like this. So now I got my drums done. Then I usually go to the bass line. It's usually my next step. This is a very simple track I'm doing right now. It's usually a lot more complex drum patterns and stuff. So then what I do is I get what instrument I'd use for my bass line, and then the drums were using pattern 1 right here, jump down to pattern 2 so they don't overlap. So I'll try to find some kind of melody, I guess. So now I've got a melody for my bass line. This is what it sounds like. This is usually just an offbeat bass line. It's not a very complex pattern, but this is not the actual sound I use. This is the default sound from the Citrus, I guess, synthesizer or digital synthesizer. So next what I do is I cycle through all of the bass sounds and try to find which one sounds best. So let's say I choose this one. I raise the volume a bit. Going to have to add the mixer track selector. Go to 5 and raise the volume. Do some fixing because I did something wrong. So normally I wouldn't really like this. This is very basic, but for the sake of this video, I'm satisfied with what I have right now. So then I add some arpeggios, and I'd usually follow the same melody again, pattern 3, so they don't overlap. Usually follows the same melody as the bass line, so figure out what note that is. I'm not very okay, so it's a regular C. So I'm using these I'm placing the notes here using the piano roll thing, I guess it's called that. Not actually playing. I'm not actually physically playing right now. So again, this is the default sound from the Citrus. So I gotta find an arpeggio that works. So not that one. So cycling again. Okay, so let's say I just found something that I really like. This is what it sounds like. So now I got my drums, my bass line, and my arpeggio. Then I usually go to the main synth sound, the riff, which is not a standard sound in FL Studio, so I have to go into a downloaded brass pack, a pack, I guess, and I find one that would fit. I either use the jackhammer brass or the old style brass, but just for the sake of this video, right? Oh crap, I forgot to change the pattern. But just for the sake of this video, I'm going to use the clear brass, which I'll have to get again. Dull auto slicing. And so now I've got the very classic Eurobeat sound. It's not loud enough. Okay. So then I gotta find a riff. I'm gonna use a riff I've used before, just because it's very hard to come up with those. So then this is usually a very long part. I gotta put everything together to create the sound, the riff. This involves a lot of copy pasting, because this second half is very similar to the first half, except for this part, which I'll get rid of and replace with a proper melody. And then once I'm done with this, one thing I usually do is I always get an octave higher, copy paste it, so it ends up sounding a bit like this. Okay, and obviously this doesn't match anymore because I'm not very good at making tutorial videos or whatever. Well, this is kind of how I do it, I guess. This wasn't very useful. As I said before, it's not a tutorial. Just showing you how I make this, and you know, of course, copy paste to end up creating a full song. So I copy paste it. So now it sounds like this. God, it's horrible. It doesn't match. Nothing matches. Well, guess what? I happen to be working on a track already. So you can see a bit how I do this. And of course, this is just the same process as well, this one right here, just extreme, I guess. So I've been setting basically all of these piano roll keys so they match and make sense, and I end up with something like this. Let's get the riff. Actually, it's the best part. It's always the best part. So this is how I make it, how I make my music. Probably wasn't very interesting to watch, probably wasn't very informative. It's probably very painful to watch because I don't know how to make videos like this. But I hope you enjoyed, I guess. I don't really know how to make stuff like this.